in New Zealand and Australia, both of these countries, they provide a longer post-study work visa. And a free or open post-study work visa basically means that you do not need to have a job to stay in the country. Within India also, we have environmental laws. And pedagogically teaching them in a classroom or learning them as a student, they're very dry, they're very cut to cut. There is no connection. LLM gives you that extra edge. It takes you away from all these courses that you have done and shows that here, I have a mastery over this specific subject matter. This I can deal with in any within my capacity at any, be it we are looking at taxation in UK, we are looking at taxation in India, we are looking at taxation in Singapore. How do they interact? I called one of my friends in New Zealand. She's a Kiwi woman, really nice, and we decided that we are going to do a road trip from the tip of the northern tip of New Zealand to the southern tip of New Zealand. Okay, we'll take a car and we'll just go. And we did that for a month. Now, throughout this trip, I got to meet, because it was a road trip, we were staying at road parks and extremely safe, extremely lovely. I met a lot of Maori people.
I love data. It resolves misinformation. Let's talk to experts, analyze news, and smartly plan your study abroad journey. Hello aspirants, welcome to Videshi Chai.
When we talk about study abroad destinations, New Zealand isn't usually the first name that comes up, but maybe it should. With its tightly knit communities, a deep respect for the environment, and student-first policies, New Zealand quietly offers what many countries offer. But here at Videshi Chai, we dig deeper. To give us a reality check on New Zealand, we have Manvi Singh, an LLM graduate from the University of Auckland, who found her calling in public international law, environmental research, and teaching. If you've been wondering whether New Zealand is the underrated answer to your study abroad plans, this conversation is one that you wouldn't want to miss.
Hi Manvi.
Hi.
Welcome to Videshi Chai. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me here.
So you started with the BLLB.
Yeah.
And you even did litigation. How did your career, how did your education path take you to a study abroad in University of Auckland?
Yeah, right. So while I was doing my BLLB, it's a 5-year long course. Gives you a long time to explore a lot of subjects within law, right? In my final 2 years, which is my 4th year and the 5th year, we have to choose specializations. So for my specialization, I chose international law because there was something about IR, international relation, which is not very well taught within our country most of the times, in conjunction with international law, but it attracted me a lot. The more I read about it, we keep a tab on news and all of that. So I was very interested in how these international relations work. How do countries interact with each other? How do we explore law out of our boundaries, right? You'll study a lot about domestic laws within jurisdiction of India, but moving beyond it, that is where it all opens. How does UN works? What we hear about UNESCO, we hear about UNHRC, what is the function? So that curiosity to learn, I think, is what led me to explore international law in the final 2 years. And while I was exploring international law, I sort of, let's say, fell in love with public international law. Now, public international law caters to all. There are two aspects to it, right? Private international law governs arbitration, mediation, contracts, business, mergers and acquisitions between countries and all of that. But public international law has a very wider berth. It is more about treaties between countries. It is about different countries with very different cultures and mindsets coming together and working together towards a similar goal, let's say world peace or world health. So I wanted to explore that. So that is how I ended up there. Internship in litigation, I think, is also, I think it's like a pathway you follow. It's a rite of passage that you follow as a law student at least once. And but it never ignited the same curiosity that international law ignited in me. So I think that is what made me decide that it's time to maybe explore this further. So LLM was the next natural path to take up. So yeah, that's how I ended up there, yeah.
Very interesting concept, especially international law. I've heard the term, but never heard it in this level of details, especially the public international law one.
Yes.
So one example, and this is topical, right? In this water treaty,
Yeah.
that would be an example of where
Yes.
this would be applied.
Yes, that is definitely a treaty that has been, it's a bilateral treaty because it has been signed between two countries, so India and Pakistan. So they interact like that, and it sort of set the terms on how the Indus River the water in the Indus River would be utilized by the countries and how it will be released and what timings would be. So treaties are extremely specific, especially bilateral treaties. They are also sort of you have to be a master of diplomatic nuance to build them the way they are built. And that is where public international law plays such an important part, because law itself is all about wording. It's all about setting terms, setting boundaries within which things would function. So definitely in this water treaty is a good example of that, a bilateral treaty. Yeah.
And you also mentioned earlier the environmental law is
Yes.
equivalent.
Yes.
How was that? How did that come to your work?
So while I was researching public international law and while I was studying public international law, Kyoto Protocol was for carbon sequestration around the world because of the rising carbon levels within our the greenhouse effect that we are seeing right now with climate change and everything, and how so many countries came up together, agreed on something. Almost 162 nations came together to sign the Kyoto Protocol and to put it in function. So while studying all of that, Stockholm Conference, again, Rio Conference, these are Earth Summit. You think about that when you read about that from a perspective of so many countries. It tells you that there is some hope. At least there is a space where all these countries are uniting to protect this one resource that is our planet. Because it is very important to understand that we only have this one planet. It's nowhere else. We can do explorations and we can no plan B. This is it. As of now, this is it, and it is really important to protect what we have. So environmental law, and I am personally a person. I need to be passionate about something to do it. It's not that the passion just comes. It does not come while you're sitting and pacing out. No, it comes when you're into something, when you get curious about something. And this is where my curiosity took me, where I landed. So environmental law definitely, and it is not a lot, it is not something which is talked about a lot. Again, that is a very important factor, that within India also we have environmental laws. And pedagogically teaching them in a classroom or learning them as a student, they're very dry, they're very cut to cut. There is no connection that you can draw to tell the students, or as a student yourself, you can't draw parallels and connection. Where did this come from? We just know that the Britishers left us these laws and we are still using them with small alterations here and there. But there is a lot of legacy behind environmental laws in other countries and other spaces. And New Zealand, that's how I ended up in New Zealand also, because one of the most, I would say, beautifully conserved countries. Small island, but so beautifully conserved. Why? Because their biosecurity laws are extremely tight. Their environmental treaties are in place. They follow through with their commitments when it comes to environment. So that is definitely how I ended up with environmental law. And New Zealand was that country which attracted me towards how beautifully a country can, even in the age of capitalism, it can still go ahead and prioritize something the other people in the world are probably not looking for at that level. So yeah.
Yeah, after all, New Zealand is a land of Frodo, the land of
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. The rolling green hills, yes. Tolkien, definitely. I think at some point, R.R. Tolkien, he was thinking about New Zealand while writing his books. Definitely, it's a beautiful country. And I would say the nature of a country also inspired its people, right? Because as beautiful as the country is, the people of the country are as beautiful. They are so helpful. They are so, I would say, sunny. That is the only word that comes to my mind, because the first time I landed in that country, we were welcomed with a haka, the traditional Maori dance form, right at the airport. They welcome you with so much gusto and with so much passion that you are totally swept into the tide of being there. And everyone is just great, I would say.
You look to be a fan.
Yeah, I am. I kind of am. Because it is always in the hardest times when you can tell how good a place is or how bad a place is. As a foreign student, as an international student, you don't you're going out for the first time probably. For a lot of us coming from India, we are going out for the first time when we are going to study. I was going out for the first time, leaving the country for the first time, and it was amazing. In a way, I was excited, but I was nervous, I was anxious, all of those feelings were there. But once I landed there, I wouldn't say it just magically disappeared. I was still feeling all of that. 3 days later that I landed, the COVID lockdown ensued. So I entered the country right on mark.
Good time.
Good timing, great timing. But, and I was more anxious. I was more nervous. How would we go about this? How this will work out? And I reached out to my admissions office at my University of Auckland, and they were so supportive. They were so nice about it, that you need help with your mental health, we are here. You need help with your physical health, we are here. You don't have to worry about anything. We will make sure that nothing bad happens to you. Don't worry about it. If you're thinking about I'm alone, we are sorry that you're feeling this way, and we'll try our best to open the campus as soon as possible, because we understand how difficult it might be for you. उन्होंने अपनी promise पे they forgot they followed through. Yeah, I forgot the word. They followed through. And they opened the campus within the next 2.5 months, and we were on campus, and things were working the same way. COVID was still happening, but New Zealand was in a strict lockdown, so there weren't no cases in there. So everything was great. People were, it almost felt like I made a family so quickly. I made friends so quickly. Everybody was, oh, you're coming from India. Oh, it must be hard for you. Not in a way to say, be apologetic or taking pity on you. More so like as one human to another. And that is one thing that was absolutely magical.
True empathy.
Yeah, true empathy. It's not done just for the sake of it. It's not being done because it's just a stranger. They are meeting you for the first time. They have nothing to take from you, and you have nothing to give them. Just a human bond.
It's a huge endorsement for New Zealand as a destination and its Auckland.
Yeah.
Future students.
Yes, 100%. Because they also have really nice policies around international students. The government especially takes care of international students. Like if any sort of problem, there is any sort of problem that you're going through, and I'm talking about from the something as minor as probably you were having a very bad time with anxiety. I'm not trying to put anxiety on the minor pathway, not like that. I have it. I know how hard it is to deal with it. But we don't take those things very seriously in our country, right? So when you go to another country and they're so careful about your mental health, and they're so active when it comes to taking care of your mental health, it makes you feel at peace. You're definitely more. You have a confidence now in this place that nothing bad will come out of it. We'll figure it out. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out. Because no matter how hard it is, the coursework or subject matter, whatever, your professors are going to be there. One email, they'll reply, they'll teach you work-life balance also in their own way. That no, you don't have to hustle 24/7, 7 days a week. You take time to breathe. Go take a walk. Go run. There are so many beautiful beaches to see. Go take a good hike out in the nature. You'll be fine. You'll get where you want to be. And all of that is available there because they were able to conserve their biodiversity.
True.
So again, circling back to their environmental laws, they have a robust system in place. And Jainesh, the most beautiful part about that, their laws flow from the indigenous Maori ideology. So it's not British, exactly. Although they were also colonized. But because they have a treaty, within their system, the Treaty of Waitangi, where the Maoris signed a treaty with the Britishers, the colonizers or the settlers, they call them. And they had this written in that treaty that all our natural resources are going to be ours only. And because they treat their natural resources how we used to treat our natural resources in India at some point of time, as kith and kin. They don't see resources as just something you take from and never give back. They treat resources as something that have an anima, that has a soul. So everything has a soul, and everything needs to be treated so. And that's how they have beautifully woven that into their environmental structure. And I hope to one day have that in India. Maybe one day we can build that in India.
Very good.
Oh yeah. That's where my research is headed as of now. That's what I want to work on. How to build something like that here, because we definitely can. We are a land of potential in that aspect. That's right.
Coming back to your education within New Zealand. So, here in general, we have seen students think of LLM abroad as a pathway to careers abroad.
Yeah.
And I would love to know what's the reality of it, especially for someone who is not looking to pursue a career in litigation there.
Yeah.
And even for people who are looking to pursue a career in litigation.
Right. Okay, so a few things there. So LLM itself is a research-based course. You only do an LLM when you want to specialize in something within law. Within the legal system, there is a specific law that you want to specialize in. Now, there can be different reasons for specialization. Let's say if you're an undergrad student and you want to go for an LLM, and you have made up your mind that, you know what, I love taxation, right? And I really want to practice in my own country. I want to practice within taxation. You can definitely go to another country to build a deeper grip on the concept of taxation interstate, which is international, how international law plays into it. This is where private international law comes into picture. Mergers and acquisition, really big market. Arbitration, really big market. Singapore is an arbitration hub. India is right now on the pathway to build its own arbitration center, international arbitration center in the country. So again, that's a very fertile field to enter into, if that is something you are interested in. LLM gives you that extra edge. It takes you away from all these courses that you have done and shows that here, I have a mastery over this specific subject matter. This I can deal with in any within my capacity at any, be it we are looking at taxation in UK, we are looking at taxation in India, we are looking at taxation in Singapore. How do they interact? What if you're opening a shop, if you're opening a company here, how will that work out for you? All of that stuff. That is how LLM functions, right? It's a very precise course subject matter. So there's nothing like general LLM that you study all the subjects. There's nothing like that. You have to pick a specialization within LLM to go through with. Next, you were asking.
Question on for folks who are not looking to practice law.
Yeah.
Like those who are
right.
a good pathway.
Right. Okay. Now, if you're thinking about, let's say, getting into judiciary in India, LLM gives you another, I think, if I'm not wrong, another extra 10% edge over other people who haven't done an LLM within the examination. At least that's how it is for UP PCSJ. For Rajasthan and UP PCSJ, it is if you have an LLM, that gives you an extra edge in the marks. So that works out for you very well. And other than that, if you're getting into litigation, if you are planning on getting into litigation, my honest suggestion as being someone who's been there also and here also, do an LLM after you have at least practiced for 2 years. Minimum, you should have practiced for 2 years to understand what is your area and do you need an LLM, right? If let's say your area is mergers and acquisition, M&A, and you want to transition into a bigger corporate structure, for that, it's great if you can get an LLM in that area and specialize in a specific area of mergers and acquisition, keeping in mind that this is the line of job or this is the line of employment I would want to follow. Within litigation, people generally always, with senior advocates or with the AORs, they mostly do their LLMs after practicing extensively, because then you will have more clarity on why you want to do an LLM. Do you even need to do an LLM? And maybe you can go to a better college, maybe an Ivy League. Why not? You'll have the money and time for it also. So that is definitely there. Now for a fresh student, like I told you, it's research, if you, like me, if you developed an interest in a subject matter, if you want to follow the path of an academician, a researcher, or a professor later on, definitely LLM plays a huge role. LLM is the primary qualifier to even get into academia. Because again, specialization, the research capacity, So the research capacity and all of that, you learn that in LLM because it's a research-based course. It's not a class-on-class-based course. In India, we do see that LLM is a class-on-class-based course where you go into the class, there are lectures, and then you write your thesis and all of that. But in other countries, it does not work like that. There is a minimum requirement of lectures. There's going to be like a three-hour lecture in a week for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The professor would come in. They'll discuss with you. They will develop your critical thinking. They will see how well can your brain work as a researcher. How deeply can you philosophize and theorize a subject matter.
Using case studies?
Yeah, using case studies, using, for international law, for example, if I would say for environmental law, and if I was studying specifically indigenous environmental law, then the professor would come in, talk about how the Treaty of Waitangi was formed, how the principles within the treaty flow into the laws, how do they interact with the present-day contemporary laws, all of that. And then you are asked to think. You are asked to philosophize. You're asked to be a philosopher who theorizes now in your own head. Because this critical thinking, this research skill is what will then make you move forward with a higher education prospect for a PhD per se, because you will be building a whole proposal for your PhD. 4 or 5 years you will be dedicating to it. All of that comes later. So LLM is sort of that jump starting point where you will understand. And for some people, I would say, if you have gone and done your LLM and you wanted to be a teacher or you wanted to be in academia, but you're thinking that no, after doing this LLM, I don't think so. I don't want to get into this further. It's not a waste. It is still a degree you have. It is still something that is going to amount to be an addition on your CV in the workplace. And LLM is always appreciated. Today, with the competition we have, be it corporate law, be it litigation or anywhere else, it's cutthroat. So that USP is always helpful in one way or the other. Yeah.
What about litigation in the destination country? Somebody's with
Right.
US, UK.
Yes. So I'm not very sure about US, UK, but for Australian, for Australia and New Zealand, if you have, let's say you've done your LLM there, now you want to practice there. You will, what the process is, the qualification assessment. Now you will first submit your past qualification, your BLLB. Let's say I did my BLLB. I'll submit all my mark sheets, my result sheets to the Bar Council in New Zealand. They will, firstly, the IQA committee, the research qualification assessment committee is going to go through it. They're going to match up the subject matter that, okay, you studied the law of torts. We have law of torts. You studied law of contracts. Again, it's something which is common. It's not different. Where are the differences? Differences come when it comes to constitutional law, when it comes to jurisprudence, when it comes to criminal laws and civil laws, land right, property right, all of. So whatever subject now that you have to still study for practicing in the domestic country, they'll give you a list of those subjects. You will go through 1 year of law school in the home country. Let's say New Zealand. You'll have to pick a law school there, undergrad, and you'll have to study their laws, which is quite natural for you to clear their bar and then practice there as an advocate. 1 year of that, then you write the bar exam in New Zealand, and then you're registered as an advocate. So that is how it works there. So if you're planning on doing that, my suggestion would be start the process right when you're starting your LLM. Do it parallelly.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, because LLM is not going to be a high-pressure course. It's going to be a research-based course. So you'll be learning research there, and here you can complete your law for a year or and a half, for whatever time period they match you with. So after finishing that, by the time you're done with your LLM, you'll be done with your law, you'll be able to give your bar exam, and you'll be enrolled as an attorney at bar there. Another thing is that when you are thinking about working after LLM, practicing law after LLM, and you don't want to go through this process of, then you become an RA. Then you become a research assistant to mostly our professors who are teaching there are POPs, that's professor of practice. So they're enrolled in the bar and they are practicing advocates. So they will definitely, and they're very approachable. They will definitely, sometimes they come and offer it to you from their own side. But do you want to work as an RA for my firm? Would you want to work with me? So sometimes that can also be there. And like I told you, they're very helpful in that aspect. If you show potential, if you show the confidence that I want to do this, I'm very interested in this, I'm very excited about this, definitely you will get the opportunity to work in that aspect. So that's there.
I want to talk a little bit about something very practical for our students mind to want to LLMs, which is supply and demand. So demand for legal professionals, internationals, where India is going to use, specifically New Zealand and Australia. Your take on whether the market has enough demand or for students to be able to do that, or would it be better strategically for them to use LLM as a launchpad for their careers in India?
I would definitely go for the second one. Yeah. Why? Because New Zealand is a very small country at the end of the day. And imagine they don't have Amazon in New Zealand. They don't have Amazon delivery services in New Zealand. They have their own indigenous system set up and they use that. Australia still has a lot more opportunities, definitely, most definitely. But it would be wrong for me to comment on it given I wasn't there on the ground. For New Zealand, the market is very small when it comes to supply and demand, like you said. But it's a great place to be using it as a launchpad because the fee structure is so nice, it's so flexible. I mean, if you're taking a loan also.
That's a nice question.
Yeah.
So I want to do a comparison for our audience.
Yeah.
LLM destinations, I think the top that come to my mind you can add is
UK, yeah.
And Australia.
Yes.
So comparison in terms of cost and the kind of education that we get, because I'm sure you have colleagues from other.
Yeah. So for that, definitely I'm telling you, I can say that with a lot of confidence now, that I paid around 21 lakhs. That's not just tuition fees, that's everything. That's my entire living expense, tuition fees, everything. Everything's included, travel included. Yes, 1.5 years, travel included. 21 lakhs exactly is what I spent in New Zealand.
And do we have any big scholarships, etc.?
There are huge scholarships right now because that's really good time to ask that question because there are new scholarships that have been launched between New Zealand and India because an MOU has been signed between our countries. And there is one, I think the recent scholarship is at 20,000 New Zealand dollars, which will cover your stay for almost 2.5 years. So it's great for that because you spend anywhere around, for a comfortable living, you spend anywhere around $1,250, New Zealand dollars, not US dollars, New Zealand dollars, for your rent, food, travel, all of that per month. And they have a really amazing system called FTS where we before even leaving the country, every country has a visa rule, right? That you have to have this much in your bank account for you to move to the country. They make you submit around 7.5 lakhs within the FTS account. And every month they would release your living expense from that account. It's
similar to what in Germany.
Yes. And it's very logically there because we as students, as new kids, it's very hard to control your finances, right? So they manage it for you. They make sure that you're not suffering in any other manner. You're fully taken care of. Same for the scholarships. Now this $20,000 scholarship is a government scholarship, general scholarship. Then comes university-based scholarship. You can also get a combination of both. So university can cover your tuition and the government can cover your living expenses. They can balance that out. They're very flexible like that also. For more information, another really great aspect about New Zealand is that their High Commission is very active when it comes to these things, international students specifically, because education in New Zealand is within the New Zealand High Commission. So any query you might have regarding this, you can even directly contact them. And they will help you through that also. So it's pretty amazing. Any upcoming scholarships or anything, they'll keep you apprised of that. And scholarships are also comparatively easier to get than UK. and I'm not very aware about the US because I never looked at US as a destination country. Yeah. Both are another thing. Oh, very important for law students, especially. Try choosing a common law country. Try choosing a legal background where they follow the same legal system. Until and unless you're very hell-bent on that, okay, I'm going to go to US and I want to practice in US, then that's your pick, of course. But a common law country will give you that ground that you can safely practice there also, or you can take that degree and come back to your country and it'll still be relevant for you.
The gap that you're talking about between all laws and laws.
Yeah.
Smaller.
It's very comparatively smaller. Same because the jurisprudential, there's something called the jurisprudential principles. So they are same. They're completely same. Nothing changes them. So when the principles are same, the laws do not differ so much because the ideology behind the law is the same. So definitely pick a common law country. New Zealand is a common law country. UK is a common law country. Australia is a common law country. So, and India is a common law country. So it's better to be within that jurisdiction while you're safely studying. Other than that, we cover the supply demand.
So we just so by in one we covered.
Yeah.
Between comparison between countries.
Yeah.
You said the cost for your use of
21. Yeah.
Free money.
Yeah.
What would be the same number for, let's say, UK, Oxford, or maybe a couple of years now?
For if we are looking at UK, if we are looking at, let's say, Queens or Kings, there's somewhere around 50 lakhs for a year. And in that 50 lakh, you don't get a post-study work visa. Now, that is the key point. That is one of the most beautiful points when it comes to foreign education in New Zealand and Australia, both of these countries. They provide a longer post-study work visa. And a free or open post-study work visa basically means that you do not need to have a job to stay in the country. They don't ask you that find a job in 6 months, otherwise you'll be deported. No. You can do smaller jobs while you're looking for that main job that you're looking for. They don't need you to get a job which is exactly relevant to your degree. You're fine. Whatever you're doing, you're fine. And a lot of my friends who did their LLM with me, some of them are in Ireland, some of them moved to other parts of England. So people move out, people move around, but they still have that option to come back to New Zealand for at least 3 years. You can come back to India. Maybe if you're not feeling like you want to search for a job right now, immediately, you finish your studies, you come back to India, you regroup, reground, rethink the whole thing. And then because you have an open study work visa, you can simply fly back. You don't have to apply for a visa for next 3 years.
Actually, if you wanted to go back.
Yeah, I would have. Yes, 100%. So this is something which UK will not provide because UK has a 6-month window for you to... Six. Is it increased to 18 months? Okay, so 18 months with now.
But right now, they're proposing to reduce to 18.
Oh, 18. Okay. So 3 years is a longer window. It's like puts you in a better headspace also. That, okay, even if I take a loan, even if I've taken a loan, let's say education loan, I can pay it back in 3 years. Because the minimum working, I think like right now, the minimum wage is around, last time in 2021, it was $19. Now it is, I think, $20 or $21 per hour. Another thing in New Zealand, while you are an undergrad or a master's student, you get 20 hours per week to do your part-time job also. So you're allowed to work part-time for 20 hours per week. In vacations, you can go on a regular 40 hours per week time. And overtime is paid, everything is paid. All of that is very strictly adhered to. Like, these are some rules which are very strictly adhered to. So, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to one more thing: how open you are to assimilation. To be good part is that New Zealand especially Auckland, is a melting pot of all cultures. You will have people from every country coming there. You'll have people from Taiwan, you'll have people from Hong Kong, you'll have people from Philippines, Pakistan, Bangladesh, America, England. People are coming from everywhere. And so you're meeting so many people. There is an intermingling of culture. So you have to be very respectful about that. You have to be very open about that. And another thing I would say is carry yourself confidently. Don't go with that mindset that don't think India is a developing nation or a third world country and I am going and carrying that baggage. Don't carry that. Carry yourself with that confidence that I made it here because I'm capable of making it here. I'm here, I'm with the same students coming from a developed country, and I have the same, I'm sitting in the same room with them and I'm doing my work. So there's not much going on apart from how you see yourself. So when you go to another country, take that cultural integrity with you, but also be open to mingle with other cultures. So that is, I think, that's going to help you in the long run. That's going to help everyone.
That's very good, right?
Yeah, that'll help you because that makes other people comfortable.
Yeah.
If they're comfortable, they're open to talking to you, and opportunities flow from there.
Absolutely.
If I had to tell you how many times I've been offered a job by complete strangers on the metro, on the train, on an airport, if I'm having a conversation with someone, just because they're fine. And New Zealand has this another thing. I don't know if other countries do this, but if let's say someone is running a business, you perchance you're talking to them, they like your drive, they like your passion, they will make a post for you in their office. They might not have had that ever. They will build a post for you to employ you. This has happened to two of my friends specifically. Yeah, that they got employed by the employer because the employer liked them very much. That you're a very interesting individual. You're very confident. You have this drive in you. So how about you come work for me? Who does that? That is an amazing thing, I would say. And for law, another thing I would say, if you really want to stay in New Zealand and practice there, do look at the land laws there and maybe specialize in something with the backing in property laws, real estate, or immigration laws. So these are two options, high demand here. So while I was talking to you, I remember that.
That's good insight.
Yeah. So immigration laws and all, because immigration lawyers are always needed. Always. In countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, they always need immigration lawyers.
Maybe less immigration for corporate.
Yes. So that is there. Yeah.
You mentioned that New Zealand's environmental sustainability law is really attractive. What, from those laws, how to get your current dissertation topic? What's the issue there?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question because I love talking about this. While I was in New Zealand, after I was done with my final paper, once I submitted it, I called one of my friends in New Zealand. She's a Kiwi woman, really nice. And we decided that we are going to do a road trip from the tip of the northern tip of New Zealand to the southern tip of New Zealand. Okay, we'll take a car and we'll just go. And we did that for a month. Now, throughout this trip, I got to meet, because it was a road trip, we were staying at road parks and extremely safe, extremely lovely. I met a lot of Maori people. There is something they say, it's called kia ora. Kia ora is their way of saying hello. Like we do namaste, they do kia ora. So with the hail and hearty, I would say, demeanor that they would interact with you, during this time, I interacted with the old Maori lady in one of these parks. We were having discussion over breakfast, and she was talking about the Maori cosmology of nature, how environment is weaved into stories and oral tradition flows, and that oral tradition has been carried on in their rituals and in their way of life, and their existence, their harmonious existence with nature is not something they have to do. It's not a have-to-do situation. It is just the way they live. And that hit me very hard because that's exactly how Indian culture has been.
Yeah,
it used to be. That's how we have been, right? We were so intrinsically connected with nature that we did not have a use for words like sustainability at some point. We were sustainable by the way of life that we had. Now that disconnect is there. That disconnect is very clearly seen in, not even I would say in our generation, but the generation coming forward also. At least in my time, I would remember when I was younger, our grandmothers would have certain plants, certain ordained plants that they would protect and keep very nicely, that no, you can't touch this. Later on, you learn that they were specific herbs which are very important in a household, which help fight so many basic cold and cough, like tulsi plant. We honor it so much. Then we have been taught since we were young, Ganga Maya, that rivers are somehow mothers, rivers are these deities. We deified nature. And that was our culture. That was the Vedantic aspect of India at some point of time. We lost it post-colonization, obviously. And these people could still keep it intact. Now, we have multiple reasons for that, obviously. We are a very diverse country. Like New Zealand has Maoris, and within Maori, they have different tribes. But still, there is an umbrella Maori indigenous tribe, right? Here, we don't have that. Here, even in tribal cultures, it's very different, very diverse. Language changes in I would say, 200 kilometers. We change the language, we change the dialect. So it's very hard to have that probably in that sense. But we see it in southern India even today. Somehow, southern India was able to preserve certain aspects even today. And because they are very, very aware of how they live, how they are around nature. Small practices, small ritualistic aspects. We somehow forgot that, and we imbibed this Western ideology, or what we call in academics, we call it a post-positivist view. Very rational. Anything that does not sit on the paradigm of Western scientific aspect, we reject it. That is not how it is in New Zealand. It's a developed country. It's doing really well. It's not like it's somehow uncivilized or uncouth. No, those words were built into our colonial memories. That if you will do this, this is superstition. If you will do this, this is not something. How do you scientifically back it? So this idea struck me while having that conversation with that one Maori lady. And then I came back, I talked to a professor at my university that, listen, I would take this with me. This idea of traditional knowledge systems is something I want to study in depth. I want to see how international laws or how international diaspora interacts with traditional knowledge systems. And the more I studied, I realized that it is doing that interaction in many countries. Canada, it is doing it. Australia, Aborigines, it's doing it there. It's doing it in New Zealand. So certain countries, it's working. Indigenous people, their voices are rising. They are the drivers of discourse around climate change. They are saying that if you can just come back a little or learn from us how to manage or how to sustain properly, you will learn a lot. But for that, we have to change that mindset, that lens of watching everything from a positivistic aspect. So I sort of want to deconstruct, or let's say decolonize environmental law in India. Okay, so that is the aim. That is how I arrived at this question, because it takes one spark. It takes one spark to really ignite that fire in you that, listen, this has to change.
I'm sure you're glad you took that road.
Oh, 100%. Oh my God. Beautiful memories, beautiful people. It's got to learn a lot about myself.
And thesis topic as
well. That is amazing. That is one of the best things to come out of that. Yeah.
One question in mind is, you're doing a PhD, which has a huge overlap with the law.
Yeah.
And there's also another degree called JD, or Juris Doctor.
Juris Doctor, yeah.
What's the difference? I know JD is mostly used in US and I think UK as well.
UK as well, yeah.
What's the difference between a JD and what you...
What I am doing, so PhD is a completely different. You're talking about LLM and JD, right?
You would Doctor of Philosophy
and
with law.
With law, yeah.
Versus Juris Doctor. What kind of major differences? What kind of differences can one add?
At this point, I haven't read up much about this. We'll skip it. Yeah. Let's skip that, because I know a very basic aspect, and that won't be of any help. Yeah. PhD in itself, although PhD in law in itself, is very intersectional. You need to understand when you're doing a PhD is never about one subject. So while I am doing a PhD in law, my PhD is overlapping, intersecting with political sciences, sociology, anthropology, ethnographical studies. So all of this comes together to build a robust and rigorous research. You cannot take one, the question can be one. You can have a central theme, a central question that, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to research on. But you cannot, in reality, do it in isolation, because law does not exist in isolation. It interacts with policies, it interacts with society, it interacts with the cultural aspect of the country. And all of these things, that's why when you decide to do a PhD, be very prepared to, your mind would be going beyond horizons that you have been to before. That is the whole point. PhD is about knowledge creation. And while we're at it, I would really like to say this, that don't do a PhD for the sake of doing a PhD. Yeah. That won't amount to much. You'll get a title of doctor, but that won't amount to much until and unless that PhD has realistic applications, until and unless it's contributing to a field of knowledge, it's expanding that field of knowledge. That's when your name would be left in a legacy, that you did something, you changed something. And you don't have to change a big thing. You don't have to make a huge change. Just whatever you are working in, make a small change there. That would have a butterfly effect, and that would impact other things coming forward. So that is one thing I would definitely suggest anyone who's thinking about doing a PhD, because I keep getting these questions a lot on my LinkedIn also about PhD. Bring that passion, bring that fire. Don't do it because just for the sake of doing it, a lot of people do it, but what does it amount to? So that's very important.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
On the topic of advice, give us three pieces or tips, you would say, to students who are in their final year of undergraduate or third year of the higher education in New Zealand, not in any field.
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about? How should they plan?
Okay. So first thing first, I would say I go by 3 C's, but I would start with it. So communication, like I said, don't give your IELTS or your TOEFL with fear. Don't try and do a rote situation and give that. Actually make an effort to learn the language. See, English is not about status anymore. English is about basic communication. If you're planning on going to, let's say, New Zealand, which is a majority English-speaking nation, then that's your language of communication. The better you are at it, the better you're at this interaction, the more confident you feel. So from the first C, you come to the second C, confidence. Take that confidence. Oh my God, that is so important. You are an undergrad student. You have done your undergrad, successfully completed it. You're thinking about taking this big leap out there. Have that confidence in you. Let the anxiety be there, let the nervousness be there, but also feel the excitement. Be ready, be curious, be really, be curious to learn about this new country. I would say read up a lot about New Zealand, see what are their cultural aspects, see how do people, are there any phenomenons that are very prevalent in that country, which you should be careful of. All of these things. If you have some prior knowledge, there'll also be a lot to talk about with other people when you meet new people. And communicate. Don't be hesitant when it comes to reaching out to people. They're very helpful. The citizens there are really, really helpful. They'll smile at you. They'll say hi on the road. I know we are not in a habit of doing that, but when they do that, please just smile, give a big smile and say hello back, because you never know who you'll meet on your way. And another thing is that the financial aspect, very important aspect, is that be ready to not just think about money all the time. You have invested this money. Think of this as an investment in yourself. Do your best. If you're doing your best, you'll get help. You'll always get help there. It's like I joked about it. I used to joke about it with my professor that it's like Hogwarts. The help will arrive whenever it is needed. So that is definitely there. Don't worry about it. It's a new country. Feel all the emotions that you're going through. It's natural. We all go through it. But just be curious about who you are going to become at the end of this. And communicate, carry yourself confidently. Carry your culture confidently. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you have a strong sense of identity, and if you don't, you'll build it. That is what foreign education does to you. Being in a different country on your own, away from family, when you're doing everything, managing a household, studies, this, that, you will become a stronger individual through it. So that is definitely there, and it will show. It will show. You'll, even if you come back to India, you'll sit for a job interview, that confidence will show. You'll have your head here that, yeah, I have done that. Now I can do this. There's nothing out there that I can not do at this point of time. It gives you that confidence. So carry that within yourself. So that is my advice to students out there who are planning to go to New Zealand for it. And please do your research, not just for New Zealand, any other country you're going to. Definitely interact with counselors, very important people. They'll help you a lot. But before going to a counselor, do your own groundwork so that you know why you want to go there. And like for me, I knew University of Auckland because when I did my research, they had the professors teaching the courses that I wanted to take. So it's very important to sort of navigate that. So navigate your interest in all of that and be open. Sometimes, we plan life very strictly in our head, especially when we are younger. We plan everything that, oh no, it has to work like this, otherwise I'm failing. No, you're not failing. You are just probably on a different path now. That path is going to take you where you have to be. Because that's my personal experience. At this point, I think I've been around whatever you can do within law, I have been there and done that. So it's very important to just be open to opportunities and open to a change. That, okay, fine, if I have to change, now I'm interested in this, maybe this is something I would want to do. Go and pick that up and see what comes out of it. Yeah.
But great advice.
Thank
you.
you.
So much fun doing that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So much wisdom someone gets. I'm sure our viewers are going to benefit a lot. I hope so.
I hope so.
It's going to help them in the research, the last answer we gave.
Yeah.
Research.
Very important. Very important.
Be a part of the research.
Yes.
For the student.
It should be. And if any help is needed from my end, please, they can reach me out on LinkedIn and anywhere. I'll be better. 100%. Yeah. I'll be happy to help. Thank you for helping me, Jainesh. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
What stood out for me in today's conversation with Manvi is that sometimes the best choices aren't the loudest ones. New Zealand may not flood your feed with ads or big promises, but it quietly delivers what truly matters: safety, sustainability, academic support, and a strong sense of community. So, whether you are weighing destinations, unsure about taking a loan, or considering a career in academia, this episode was a masterclass in asking the right questions and trusting your values. If this resonated with you, do share it with a fellow student who's trying to figure out their next move. And as always, keep sipping the truth with us, one Videshi Chai at a time. Until next time, this is Jainesh Sinha signing off.